Le Mans Ultimate has come a long way since its release in February 2024. After a rocky start, the developers have pulled on all strings to make it the success it is today. With the AsLMS pack now complete, the focus shifts to future content and features. In this video we are gonna talk about what the future holds for Le Mans Ultimate. There have been some big rumors flying around about IMSA content getting added into LMU. I really think there's big potential here as WEC and IMSA are sort of married since 2023. Almost all of the cars that are in LMU also race at IMSA. Think about all the cool tracks we could get. Laguna Seca, Watkins Glen, Road America, VIR, Detroit Street Circuit, Indianapolis, Road Atlanta, Daytona. Even if LMU doesn't get an official IMSA license, I think there's potential in getting individual track licenses for some of these tracks. More tracks like these is always good for sim and the community. Although the track selection is very good in LMU, it is rather small compared to some other sims. ACC, for example, has twice as many tracks, and don't even get me started about iRacing. I think the chances of LMU getting at least some of these tracks is pretty high. They even hinted at Daytona in one of their dev talks, but I do think this won't be anytime soon as they're focused on other aspects, like career mode. What has sadly been postponed is the extensive career mode for Le Mans Ultimate. Multiple prototypes have already been showcased to the community what a potential career mode could look like. They talk about features like starting your career off from a different background. Do you want to be a wealthy amateur with big budget or a modest professional with very limited funds? A social media feed. An in-game social media platform that tracks paddock news. User behavior can have consequences. For example, specific interactions or tweets can impact your standing with the team. I think also on-track performance will also affect this social media feed. A budget feature where you must manage funds for team operations and entry costs. Think of damage bills, contracts and sponsorships. Multi-class progression where the structure follows the real-world ladder, typically starting in GT3 or LMP2 before moving into hypercars. A double-header system. If the WEC season goes to a track like Imola or Qatar and you don't own the DLC, the career mode allows you to race at the track you do own, like Spa, twice in one season to keep the progression moving. I really like this because it keeps the game accessible to everyone. These all sound very cool and a lot like the WRC and F1 career modes. I hope they can make something really special out of it to blow other career modes like the ones from F1 and EAWRC games out of the water. They're in a really good position to make the best career mode the sim genre has ever seen. I hope they can pull it through and give us some good foundations they can build on top of in the future. I expect more to hear about this career mode during the 24 Hours of Le Mans event. Sorry, one more time about the IMSA license and then I will shut up about it. If Studio 397 secures the full IMSA license, the potential for expansion is huge. We could eventually see the Michelin Pilot Challenge adding GT4 and TCR classes, or even single make series like the Porsche Cup, Mustang Challenge and Lamborghini Super Trofeo. And of course the MX-5 Cup. These would be all very sick for multi-class racing, but realistically this is a multi-year project. The developers will always prioritize keeping the core WEC grid up to date. While I would be shocked to see IMSA content in our hands this year, keep a close eye on the 24 Hours of Le Mans event in June. If they've signed the license, that is exactly where they will make the announcements to start the hype train. A more realistic license pathway for LMU to take is the Asian Le Mans Series license, a series which is under the same umbrella as WEC. So this license is practically already within reach for the LMU devs. But I cannot lie, these tracks have way less aura than the IMSA content. I mean, come on. 4 hours of Dubai, 4 hours of Yas Marina. Only good one is the Sepang circuit. We will see what the LMU devs will do. Maybe they will do a mix of both IMSA and Asian Le Mans series. Who knows? This one has bugged me for a long time now. For an endurance sim, stability and performance are key. You don't want something technical to go wrong with the game during a special event where everyone has practiced for hours upon hours.
Do you still see the car? Uh-oh.
Luckily, with every update this has been improved bit by bit and the game is so much more stable than even a half a year ago. The endurance events have brought in a lot of data for the LMU devs to look at and work on, and the devs have said that they've seen a massive improvement from the first test to the last one. LMU is nowadays running big endurance events about every 2 weeks successfully. I still think there is room for improvements though, especially FPS related. I have an okay PC running a Ryzen 7 5800X with 16 gigs of RAM and a 5070 Ti, but I struggle to hit 90 FPS on almost lowest settings on a full grid. This is not really acceptable in my opinion, and I hope they can improve this, but I think big performance changes will be coming because of the console port. Console port, although delayed, is definitely coming and is now scheduled in 2027. This is very exciting news for the console players and will definitely bring in a very big market and hype to this game. The console version should launch as a finished product, complete with full career mode and all the 2024 through 2026 WEC content. This will also mean that there will probably be console performance improvements that can also carry to the PC version, thus improving the performance on PC. Again, I expect to see more of this console port during this year's 24 Hours of Le Mans event. What about VR? After the 1.3 hotfixes, VR performance has stabilized, but it's still not called official. We might get an official VR beta announcement during the Le Mans 24 Hours week in June. I personally don't own a VR headset and haven't tried it yet. Do you have any experience with VR in LMU? Let me know down in the comments. Don't get me wrong, I like the special events in LMU, but I do think they're just not special enough. Look at iRacing's special events. There's always a big roar around them, with also a main broadcast for Split 1. People flock to iRacing from all around the sim racing community for their special events. Even me, although I hate iRacing. La la. I think LMU can also create this sort of hype around their special events. Something I really like that they've started doing is matching the special events to the corresponding real life event, and I can see that there is more hype during these events. But I think they can make them feel even more special by having a more sophisticated range system and some sort of full course yellow or safety car system. This way you can disrupt an endurance just like real life and make a race spicy again after it's getting a little bit stale after a couple of hours. There are already a couple of LMU leagues popping up where you have full course yellow and safety car.
Just has more straight line speed.
Safety car, please reduce your speed to speed limiter.
Something happened. Something has happened and I have no idea what. Let me guess. It's Niazi Childir. What the hell is that?
These are deployed by a real race control and driven by a real driver. Although not perfect, it made the races chaos in a good way. Tactical pit stops and offsetting you from the grid could be very beneficial. Also people that are very far behind, but still on the lead lap, still had a chance of a good result when a lucky safety car was deployed. It would seriously shake up the sim racing world if a system like this can be implemented for the special events. This would be the only mainstream sim with official endurance events like this and be a good unique selling point for the game. There's a persistent rumor about the classic spec. Think LMP1 era monsters, ODR 18 or Porsche 919, or even Group C icons like the Porsche 962. Even if it's just 2 or 3 legendary cars and the historic Le Mans track layout without the chicanes on the Mulsanne Straight, it would be a massive hype DLC for 2027. There are also many older cars that have raced at Le Mans like the GT1 and GTS class of cars. These would all be very cool to race multi-class with or do an historic championship. I hope LMU can see the potential in this. This would be of course very sick and fitting for this game, especially paired with an historic track like Mulsanne Straight Le Mans. I also think this is a very realistic licensing pathway for LMU to add more content that is a direct link with current content. It would make this game super special and I have no doubt that people will come flooding in when content like this is added. Just look at the historic content that AMS2 is pumping out, with even more historic layouts of historic tracks. That makes that game special. A more sophisticated rain system is definitely needed for this game. It is a little bit better than ACC rain, but iRacing just blows it out of the water on this point. In iRacing, you have realistic puddles forming depending on how the track flows and where drain holes are on the track. You also have dynamic weather, so it can rain more on one part of the track and rain less on other parts. Also, wet and dry lines are implemented, so it's pretty much a full-fledged weather and track system. If LMU can add their own take on such a system, that would make the rain so much more enjoyable and skill driven. It also really helps to spice up league races and endurance races. Rain is the great equalizer of all, like a wise man once said. Are there any rumors you guys have heard of? And what kind of features do you want to see in our beloved sim? Let us know down in the comments or in my Discord. You guys sometimes have great suggestions. I always love reading all the comments. Well, that's all for today. Don't forget to ram that like button, and I will see you guys in the next video.